But Liverpool have a new superstar. That's it. They have a new superstar in the making. That young man, Rio Ngumoha, has come off that bench. There's been so much hype, so much anticipation, so much expectation for this young man. And he came on and delivered in probably the only passage of play that Liverpool had in the second half, barring the goal. In fact, looking at this statistically, I'm just checking this now. They scored their fourth shot of the game was... I want to make sure I get this right. I want to get it accurate. Their fourth shot of the game was Hugo Ekitike's goal. Their next shot in the football match was Rio Ngumoha's winner 40-odd minutes later in the game. It was a game from a performance level for Liverpool to forget. The performance was nowhere near good enough defensively, really poor, couldn't control a game against 10 men, especially when the stuffing was kicked out of Newcastle. It really shouldn't have gone the way in which that it did. What we saw in that last 2 minutes of play was what the majority of us were expecting in that second half. But this is what champions do. And although there will be people, and we'll talk about it on our shows, that will speak on the poor play from Liverpool, the fact they've conceded 4 goals in 2 games, both from being in commanding winning positions. These things are worries. These things are concerns. But I think most of us know and believe that Liverpool are going to iron that out. Why? Because they're champions. Why? Because we've seen them do it before. Why? Because they're going to buy more in the window. I think Mark Gahey is needed. I think there's something wrong with Konate at the moment. I don't know whether it's the links to Real Madrid. Is he fully committed? But something seems very, very off about that man indeed. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. His situation, he feels off key in many, many ways. But this is what champions do. And what do I mean by that? Because some people go, that's just a phrase, Terry. Champions find a way of winning when they don't deserve to. Now, you can't do that 38 times in a season. It will never happen. The performances will need to get better for Liverpool. But what we witnessed this evening was why they're my favourites to win the league. Nowhere near their best. Outmuscled, outplayed, outperformed. You could throw in a few other sort of cliches that Newcastle wanted it more. They weren't up for the fight in every minute of the game, but they just managed to find a way. And it came from brilliant moments and clinical edge. The first being Gravenberch. Now, just back from injury, I believe. I think it's injury. Injury or suspension, but it was his first game back. You'll all tell me in the comments section below. And he started off in a rough way. He got a booking, which made it harder for him to play his game. But he grew. And when he had the opportunity to shoot, it was such a fantastic finish. Power, precision, into that bottom corner, a little bit of the post being hit. And you saw the energy get sapped out of St. James's Park. Then, of course, the red card happens, and we'll get more into the red card later. But I don't think anybody in their right mind is going to deny it's not a red card. He goes right down. A few people saying it weren't studs up. Well, you can't do that without your studs being up. A horrendous tackle, 110% a red card. Not a debate, in my opinion. Some will have a debate, and we'll open up the lines for that. But for me, stonewall red card. Then Ekitique comes out. And this young man, 3 goals in his first 3 games for Liverpool. I don't think he had his greatest game tonight. But the one thing about his game that was criticised in the summer and naysayers were talking about was he doesn't score enough goals. 12 or 13 league goals last season for Frankfurt. What's he going to do coming to Liverpool? We do this so much as football fans. We look at their output at a club without understanding what's going on at that club, without understanding how they're being utilised. Everyone that had ever watched Hugo Ekitique play knew that if he was moved more centrally, kept more centrally, plus surrounded by better players, there was a genuine possibility that his goal output improved. 3 goals in 3 games, a 100% record, and again, wonderful clinical edge from the man. On top of that, the final goal. Now, this final goal, you've got to put context on this. They concede from Liverpool's point of view, a scrappy set piece, ball's cleared, ball's back in. Bruno Guimaraes bullied Kerkez at the back post. And again, Kerkez, very good at Bournemouth, has a long way to go to being a Liverpool player. The pressure is different. The weight of the shirt is different. And I thought he was really poor in that moment. Bruno Guimaraes, who one of the man of the matches for me, I thought he had a fantastic game, gets on it, puts it in the back of the net. And you're thinking, oh, Liverpool been very quiet for 20 or so minutes. What can be done? And Newcastle didn't stop. They didn't stop. And the equaliser for Newcastle reminded me so much of the equaliser in the 3-3 last year. Just really poor defending. A high ball up. Liverpool not ready for the second balls. Goalkeeper caught in a little bit of no man's land. And suddenly it's 2-2. And all the emphasis, all the emphasis and all of the momentum. And momentum is such an important part of a football match. Swung in Newcastle's favour. Then there's all this time added on. This is really important to talk about because all this time got added on. And you heard St. James's Park. It roared. They roared. It was a cauldron of excitement, anticipation, demand. And Liverpool shrunk. When that ball went up, I wouldn't want to see it. But all the batty holes, the Liverpool players went, and they went a bit. They went. They weren't up for it. And Newcastle were like, we got this. And Newcastle pushed and they got corners and they were close. And you're thinking, wow. And then Liverpool just summoned in the last 2 minutes of the game. And this is why Liverpool are my favourites to win the league. This is why Liverpool are the best team in the country at this moment. Is what Liverpool were able to then do is in the last 2 minutes, after everything I've just said, and I stand on it, be angry with me, slag me off if you want. You decided for the first time in the whole second half to play. You got the ball. You moved it around with some confidence. Now, Arne Slot deserves some credit here too. He made a couple of substitutions, which the commentators here in England, so I'm not too sure where you were watching the game, essentially alluded to the fact that turning to the bench in the 95th minute and bringing on Rio Ngumoha was maybe a little desperate. Oh, he's turned into a young kid here. I respect commentators. They do a very hard job with the research they do. How do they not know about this young man? How do they not know about his ability? They must not have watched the pre-season as a bare minimum, let alone read into his history. 95th minute, he makes them subs. And do you know what? They were attacking subs. Harvey Elliott's an attacking midfielder and Ngumoha as a forward. And in the last couple of minutes, they just started to move the ball with a little bit of authority. There was some confidence getting hold of the ball. And I so wish I was on a watch along because you'd have seen what I said. When the ball got played out wide, and I don't remember, it might be Conor Bradley that then played it inside to, I don't remember who the player was that knocked it onto Salah. Someone, it might have been Harvey Elliott. I don't know, I can't remember. I went goal. And I could see the move before it happened. It was like Neo in the Matrix. Went to Salah, who, by the way, he had a stinker for him by his standards. And I saw people in one of my group chats going, oh, I wish I didn't have him in the team. No fantasy football points where you got your assist. He plays it across a Soboslai. And this is horrible for me because I don't want Liverpool to win. I'm a Man United fan. But I scream, leave it! Because it's the football fan in me. And he did. The dummy from Soboslai should actually get the assist. That's where statistics can let you down. That was the real assist. And Rio's finish into that far corner. Roy of the Rovers, Kiko Makeda-esque. Actually bent into the corner like Kiko Makeda. I love that man. And listen, I'm happy for the young lad. He's 16 years of age. All the talk's been about Dalman, who deserves it. Fantastic player. But Rio Ngumoha has just stolen his thunder in a hugely significant way this evening. One of the youngest goal scorers in Premier League history. A winner away at St. James's Park in an adrenaline-fueled, emotional-fueled battle. A modern-day Premier League classic for me. I love that game. I could sit down. In fact, when I'm done with this show, I might sit down and put it on again. I might crack open a glass of wine and sit back and enjoy it because I loved every single second. But it's a champions win for Liverpool. They've broken Newcastle hearts again. I want your thoughts. I want your opinions in the comments section below, people. Make sure you're hitting the like button as well, and make sure you are subscribing. Let's go.